Hi, everyone. Welcome. It is Joy with Active Potential, and we are doing part 2 of Lemonade. So we're going to give just a second for everyone to come in and get settled. All right. All right. Thank you guys for joining. If you have comments, please drop them in the comment box, and I'm trying to keep track of everything at the same time. So give me some grace if I'm a little bit behind. Right. Okay, let's get started. All right, so today is part 2 of our Lemonade Lunch and Learn series, and I'm super excited because this is like the nitty gritty of the Lemonade today. So make sure you join us and follow Active Potential so that you can see each week that we're going to go live. It's Thursdays, it's bi-weekly, it's 12:30, so you can do it during lunch, but it may not take your whole lunch. So bring your lemonade, bring your lunch, and enjoy. I also should suggest that you follow us on all social media. So we're on Instagram, Facebook, of course, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube has some interesting videos as well. And also TikTok. TikTok is so fun. So follow us there. All right. Let's keep going. All right. So each and every other Thursday, we're going to be talking about lemonade. And what lemonade is about taking those lemons of life and making life sweeter. So today we're focusing on picking your lemons. So pick your lemons. You can't have lemonade without the lemons. And we all have had lemons in life, something that comes in and throws us off our game, slows us down, delay us, puts us in a bad mood. Whatever those things are, we all have those. So today we're learning how to pick those lemons. And this is part 1. Part 2 will come in 2 weeks. All right, so what do you need for today? Grab a pen and paper or use your device to take notes during this because you're gonna want to keep up with what you say. You're gonna build week to week on what we're talking about. So go ahead and grab those supplies now. Next, you're going to need to create some silence. So that silence is silencing your distracting thoughts, other people's opinions that's floating around in your head, the everyday demands, the people in the office, like silence them, even if you have to just kind of ignore them or tune them out, put on headphones, do that. If your kids are running in asking for lunch, hopefully you fed them or you will feed them. But for just these 30 minutes, and right now, 26 more minutes, silence everything. Create a safe space for your self-exploration without judgment, criticism, or guilt. And that's what I'm here for, and that's what everyone is here for. Feel free, like I said, to drop comments. This is a safe space. Please don't belittle anyone. I know social media can be harsh at times, so we're all here just to help each other and create that safe space. All right, ready to get started? Got your pen and paper? Let's go. So last time, 2 weeks ago, we talked about what's your recipe. You can find this full video on our Facebook page. So go there, even if you're in the event, you can find the full video there. So we talked about your vision, your values, and your goals. Your values are the things that are most important to you. I asked you to pick out 3 to 5 values that are your most precious values. You're going to find if your life isn't aligned with those values, it's going to become sour. So that's like our sugar. That's our sugar. We talk about your vision, what you want, and your goals. Those are your recipe. Your recipe is what you want to make. So you have to know what you want to make before you start making it. Otherwise, you have all the wrong ingredients, right? Okay. So today we're talking about picking your lemons. So pick your lemons. In other words, what's making life sour? And let's examine that and figure out how to use it to make our lemonade. We're going to dive into those lemons So are you ready? Let's get started. So I've identified two types of lemon. We have the rotten lemons and the ripe lemons. The rotten lemons are those that we do not, absolutely do not want to put in our lemonade. They're gonna make us sick. They're gonna taste disgusting. They're gonna make us throw up. We're gonna spit it out. We do not want to put those lemons into our lemonade. So today we're going to repurpose those lemons. We may bury them and create compost out of them. We may just throw them in the trash. No. Whatever you decide. But I say take those rotten lemons and make compost and feed them into your tree of life, right? And you can create more healthy lemons, taking those rotten lemons and just kind of putting them somewhere they can create something new and valuable. Then we have the ripe lemons. And those ripe lemons are the lemons that you're going to pick and you're going to squeeze every bit of juice you can get out of them for your lemonade. So you're going to take them, you squeeze them, and we're going to go into both of these. But today we're going to focus on rotten lemons. Sounds gross, right? Rotten lemons. All right, so I have two types of rotten lemons. Today, we're going to focus on negative energy projected from others and self-sabotaging thoughts. These are the things that we do not want to include in our lemonade. They're going to make our lemonade nasty. You can't take the negative energy from other people and convert it because you have no control over them, right? You just can't do it. So let's dive into that one first, and then we'll go on to self-sabotaging thoughts. Negative energy projected from others. When those around you project onto you the limitations based on their personal experiences and the limitations they place on themselves. So have you ever said, I want to be president of the United States? We'll just use a very broad generic one. And someone says, well, you can't be president of the United States because of this, and this. Those are limitations that they feel personally. That has nothing to do with you. That's not positive feedback. Positive feedback would be, if you want to be president, then maybe you should focus on these strengths and this development areas. That's something you can work with. But the judgment, the shame, the rehashing things that happened a long time ago, that is all rotten. You don't want to put it in your lemonade. You're going to take that stuff, you're going to bury it in the dirt, and you are going to use it to create a more fruitful product, right? So let's look at some of these. Yeah, right. I'll believe it when I see it. Why would you do that? Why wouldn't you do something more practical? What's practical? Practical for one person is not practical for another. You better keep that good job. Have you ever heard that? That's something my mom always told me. You better keep that good job, which meant don't pursue something better because at least you know what you have here. And it can feel safe and secure, which it really isn't. Anytime you're working for someone else or even yourself, it's not technically secure based on life. But they say, well, you get these benefits, especially the older generation. Sometimes, they've gone through a lot. And I speak from like my mom's generation, which is much older. And so they went through a lot to get to the point where we can be where we are. So to them, it's like, no, you got to keep that good job. You're lucky to have that good job. And they may be correct. But if you have other aspirations, you need to do something that aligns with your vision, your values, your goals, and not others. This says, I don't deserve. That's just say, you don't deserve. You don't deserve that. Like, you have done too much stuff. You're not going to get it. You're not lucky enough. You're not talented enough. All of those projected thoughts onto you, or just silence. Have you ever mentioned an idea to someone and they just give you silence? You're like, oh, okay. And then you start self-doubt, right? That self-doubt creeps in. You start thinking, I must have sounded stupid. No, no. We want to take these and we're going to bury it and repurpose it. So, how do you deal with this negative energy projected from others? Let's talk about it. I have a solution for you. And it's going to be difficult. It's not going to be easy. It's going to take practice. So, get ready. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boundaries. Boundaries. How do you set boundaries for yourself or others around you to protect your energy? So that's what we're going to do with these rotten lemons. We're going to bury them and we're going to grow some healthy boundaries, some trees that create a boundary. So let's talk about that. Here's a 3-step process to your boundary. Set the boundary, gauge the reaction, and act accordingly. Those are your 3 steps. Set the boundary, gauge the reaction, act accordingly. So let's start with number 1, setting the boundary. State how you feel and state what you need. Be clear, be concise, don't use qualifiers, be exact. So, I see a comment, misery loves company. That is very true. Sometimes, and we've all kind of done that where we're like, we feel bad and then we start bringing others down. So let's be conscious of our energy and let's be conscious of the energy that we allow around us. So setting that boundary, state how you feel, state what you need. If it's someone you care about and someone you need in your life or someone who's going to be around, set this boundary. This is what I need from you. I don't feel supported in this moment. I really need your support. Support looks like this, right? Because support doesn't always look the same for everyone. And we also have to recognize that, we may need money, but we may not be able to ask the support to be money. So support looks like this for me. Support means listening to me, giving me positive reinforcement. What does that support look like? So be very, very clear about that. Now, number 2, gauge the reaction. This is important. So how do they immediately react? Do they dismiss you? Whatever, girl. Is that what they do? Do they dismiss you? Do they belittle? You're being sensitive. I didn't even mean it like that. And then look at the delayed reaction. Do they say, okay, I understand, and then go back to the same thing in a week? So let's look at these 2. Immediate reaction. If they are supportive, great. Move on down the line. If they are dismissive, we're going to have to react to that, right? Because that's something we don't want around us. And so that's going to move to number 3, act accordingly. So adjust your expectations for that person. I'm not saying if someone is going through a hard time that you have to, and they can't be supportive. I'll give you an example. My mom had ALS. It was super difficult. I dealt with a lot of depression and sadness and anxiety during that time, right? Because it was a prolonged period of her being ill and sick. And so it was very hard for me to be supportive of anyone because I was barely surviving. In that case, if you have a friend or someone around you who is like that, adjust your expectations. So it could be adjusting your expectations for what they're going through, adjust your expectations to say, you know what, right now, they can't support me in this moment. And so I'm going to reconfigure our relationship where I interact with them on certain things. I talk to them about certain things, but this precious goal and value or vision of mine, I'm just going to leave them out of it for the time being. If they dismiss you immediately because they don't care how you feel, again, adjust your expectations. They're not going to be able to support you the way you need, and that is okay. They may not have it in them. So what you're going to do is adjust your expectations and say, you know what? This person is a fun person to be around. I'll go hang out with them. I'll have brunch with them, but I'm not going to have serious discussions with them, right? So you're reconfiguring that relationship. If they seem supportive in the beginning and their delayed reaction is going back into old habits, feel free to go back and revisit this boundary. This can be a lot of work. And not that it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of energy to set boundaries, gauge the reaction, reconfigure the relationship, because they also, if you reconfigure your relationship, they may come back and say, what are you doing? Why are you acting funny? It takes a lot of emotional energy. And so I'm going to say something very blunt that may sound kind of mean, right? If it's not a person that's important to you and it's not a family member or a close friend, and it's just an associate, you may just want to say, well, I'll see you when I see you. 100% okay, because your goal at the end of the day is to reach your goal. And if someone is influencing you in a way that's taking you away from your mission, your purpose, your values, then it may be time to say, that was a season, not a lifetime. That was a seasonal relationship and it's past. All right. So let's stop and take some notes. Who do you need to create boundaries for? Do you have someone who is negative Nancy? Do you have someone who is discouraging that you need to create boundaries for? Now, what boundaries will you put in place? Will it be, I will only talk to them about certain things? Will it be, you know what, when I'm in this building mode, I'm in this creation, this innovative mode for my life? Will it be, okay, I'll go see them in a month. I'll go revisit. Or will it be, well, I'm just gonna put up a stone cold boundary and it was nice while it lasted, but now it's time for me to start my journey and keep it moving. So take a moment. I'm gonna give you a moment to write that down and then we'll pick back up. All right, let's keep it moving. We have 12 minutes. All right, so rotten lemons. Number 2, self-sabotaging thoughts. And the reason I put this after negative energy projected from others is because sometimes that negative energy gets in our brain. And that's what creates these self-sabotaging thoughts. So these are thought distortions where you're saying you're not good enough. Let's dig in. Mostly irrational thoughts formed by negative experiences or negativity projected onto us by others. These are super hard to control. Super hard to control our thoughts. It takes intention. It takes intention. And so when we're making our lemonade from our lemons, and these are our rotten lemons that we're burying, it takes work and energy to change this stuff around, to change our mindset, our perspective, the way we be, right? The way we just exist. We have to rethink that and change that. And that starts with our thoughts. Those thoughts often come from our parents, intentional or unintentional. So sometimes our parents will say, oh, you think you smart. They think that's cute, but it's not cute because it puts insecurity in us about showing up as our full, authentic, intelligent selves, and it adds a layer of shame. So our parents can put that type of negative self-sabotaging thoughts in our head. They can do intentional, like, no, you're just stupid. Hey, we've been there. I'm sure some people have been there. So those self-sabotaging thoughts, they can come from that. They can come from a moment where you had a failure. They can come from a moment where maybe you felt rejected. These self-sabotaging thoughts. So let's look at some. I'm lazy. I just can't win. Why can't I win? Everyone around me is doing great. What is wrong with me? Nothing good ever happens to or for me. I'm not as smart as her or him or them. I don't deserve that. I didn't do exactly what I was supposed to do. So now I am undeserving. These are those self-sabotaging thoughts. So what are some self-sabotaging thoughts that you may have? What are some of those? What are some of those? All right. It's impossible. That's impossible. I can never do that. I have to be perfect to do that. So, what is the solution for this? This isn't, it's not as emotionally uncomfortable as the setting boundaries, but it takes lots of work and it's not going to seem intuitive at first. So let's go into it. The solution is honesty. And I mean radical honesty with yourself, honesty in a way that we often are not with ourselves, but we are with other people. So have you ever had someone say, well, I can't do that? Think about a child. If you have a child, like, oh, I'm just not good at it. And we have to be honest with them and say, you can do it. And this is what it takes to do it. It's that honesty that sometimes we're just not thinking about, and we feel like we're being inauthentic, but it's just the root of the matter. So let's take a look at this. I'm lazy. That's the one that is, I mean, it's what other people can say to you too. And sometimes we say this to ourselves, like, I should have did this and I didn't do it. I'm just lazy. I'm inconsistent. I'm this, I'm that. Okay. When we think about these judgments that we have for ourselves, that's all this is judgment, unproductive judgment. We can't do anything with I'm lazy. What do you do with that? There's no solution to laziness. Laziness is like a personality flaw, right? There's no solution to it. But we have to be honest with ourselves and we have to break down and analyze what's really going on. So I'm lazy turns into I'm tired. I'm not doing this because I'm tired. I'm not doing this because I'm overwhelmed. I call it lazy because I'm not getting everything I want to get done. But for some reason, I find a way to get done everything else for everyone else, but I don't find time for my goals. That's not lazy. That's an issue of time. And I don't want to say management, but allocation. Right? So if we go to I am tired, we can come up with a solution versus I'm lazy. So the truth is, and if I'm honest with myself, I'm just tired. I'm drained. So what can I do about being tired and drained? A solution may be I need to adjust my schedule and diet to have more energy for the things that are important to me. That's something we can work with. I'm lazy is a self-sabotaging thought. It's a judgment on ourselves. Where I'm tired, we can produce a solution, right? I'm not as smart as her. What? Ma'am or sir? No, it's not that. I need to find resources online or classes so that I can acquire the knowledge I need to accomplish my goal. Self-sabotaging thoughts often lead us to compare ourselves to others, which is also a mistake and will lead us into inaction when it comes to our vision, our goals, and our values. So that comparison, you can use others as inspiration. You have to be real clear when you're looking at someone else and what they're doing, that you are looking for information or inspiration. Information or inspiration. Anything else is going to lead down the wrong path. So comparing yourself about what they do, you're uniquely you. You do not need to compare yourself, but you can learn from someone and you can be inspired and motivated by someone, right? So I am not as smart as her. What can I learn from her and implement it in a way that satisfies what I need? Because her needs are different from your needs. So trying to be her is not going to work. Her, him, them, whoever, is not going to work. So we have to really get to the root of these self-sabotaging thoughts. You can even think about, where did this thought come from? Where did this thought come from? Me, personal, I'm lazy. Personal story. I'm lazy. I was called lazy throughout childhood. And as I became an adult, I was like, no, I wasn't lazy. I was efficient. I wanted to find the easier way to do something. Efficiency is seen as a strength. Laziness is seen as a flaw. And it's true. I do like to be efficient. That's what it was. They called it lazy. I call it efficient. No way I'm lazy. I do a million things, right? So think about that and really chew on it. Like really chew on it and think about it so that you can start reframing this. Now, if you need help with this, definitely contact me, DM me. It's not always the easiest thing to do when we're stuck inside our own heads, right? So DM me, I'm here for you. We can even set up a free session. All right, let's keep moving. We have 4 minutes. All right, so what self-sabotaging thoughts haunt you most? How can you reframe these? I'm going to give you a couple of minutes, or actually, no, a couple of seconds. And you can always come back and watch this and pause where you need to. All right. Let's wrap it up, guys. So what are your rotten lemons? What are your rotten lemons? Who are those people that you need to put boundaries on? What are those self-sabotaging thoughts, those criticisms, those judgments, those comparisons that are causing you to delay your goals, your vision, and be out of alignment with your values? What are those lemons? So next week, we're going to talk about ripe lemons, the ripe lemons. So that should be fun. Those are ones we're going to squeeze and put into our lemonade. So for this week, or actually these 2 weeks, I want you to pick 2 lemons that you can pick and 2 lemons you can work on. So if it's a particular person, if it's a particular, like the most nagging, negative, self-sabotaging, judgmental thought, what 2 can you work on during these 2 weeks? And how will you handle them? How will you address them? All right. So we talked about what's your recipe, the values, your vision, your goals. We talked about that first. And we're going to continue working on those goals. So I hope you haven't thrown them away. I hope you have them in a safe place. Today, we started the picking your lemons. We talked about the rotten. We're moving to the ripe. So next week, what's making life sour and how we make it sweet? We're doing part 2, and those are ripe lemons. That's Thursday, June 3rd at 12:30 Eastern on Facebook Live. I hope to see you there. Please feel free to comment or DM me or email me at joy, Joy, at active-potential.com, or you can DM me on Facebook. Whatever works best for you. I really want to be here to support you through this process. We can set up a free session and explore where to go from there. All right. So again, follow us: Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, all major platforms. All right. I can't wait to see what you come up with. And when you think about your lemons, I have to show you guys what I have on. My shirt says nah, right? So we're saying nah to those rotten lemons. So I can't wait to see you next time. Bye, everyone.